Welcome back to SAFC Live. It was a draw in the end down at Kenilworth Road. 1-1 in the end, Danny. What do you think of the game?
An open game. I thought they had the better of it early on. We came into it towards the end of that first half, 15 minutes or so, worked the goalkeeper a little bit, and then unfortunately we conceded right on half-time, didn't we? Setting off and thinking, can we come out, get on the front foot, take the game to Luton, but it didn't quite happen. It was stop-start. We were making substitutions, then they were making substitutions, but it was one of our subs that come up with the goods, got us the goal and got us the point in the end. Yeah,
we'll run the highlights if we can, and then we can speak about today's game. 1-1 in the end, a chaotic game I described it as, Danny.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, chaotic, I think is the word, and this sums it up really. Frantic bodies flying about. You see again, balls coming into the box. Look at the numbers we got back there. I said neither team really dominated possession. I'm not sure what the possession stats are, but it seemed like they had a bit of the ball, then we'd have it, then we'd give it away, they'd give it away. Fouls, a lot of throw-ins, misplaced passes. That was the story of the game, really. But I can see why they caused teams problems and where they were last season. He's got them well organised, two big units up top who were a handful, not just in the air. I thought they were neat and tidy on the deck at times as well. Carlton Morris, you see there getting his shot away. Good save from Anthony Patterson. And then we did come into the game in that last 10-15 minutes. Jack there, you see, we know what he's capable of. He picks the ball up, goes on one of his mazy runs, gets his shot away in the end. Angle's going against him on his left foot, but he didn't see enough of the ball in that first half. Jack on that left-hand side. And similar to Ahmad, really, in a way, he was quiet for the first half an hour or so, but then he came into the game, he was getting one or two opportunities himself. But at the same time, they were always a threat at the other end of the pitch, more often than not, with balls coming into the box. That one there coming back off Anthony Patterson's left post. I think he's beaten there if it's on target. On the follow-up there, and Adebayo, he makes a good save. How will Tony Mowbray say? I think he'll be frustrated. He'll know on the fact that I think he'll be happy that we've picked up a point to come away with a point, but he'll feel we're better than what we've produced today.
I think we were good in spells in the second half, more like ourselves. I think the subs really worked, and we'll get on to the introduction of Ellis Sims as well, because you can see the difference there.
Yeah.
Only from the few moments he was on the pitch. But yeah, well, Tony Mowbray will take positives from this game as well as frustrations from probably the first half as most frustrating.
First half, yeah, openings were there though. You see there, Diaco was quiet again, another one quiet for most of that first half, but
hits a post.
I think sometimes as a striker, again, I was on a striker, but you're waiting for that one opportunity to come along, and you see there, he does well initially, works his opening, and it's just that ice coolness that needs to set in really when you pick your spot. He drags it, doesn't he? Near post, comes off the outside of the post, but then Danny Bart's up there next one, and this is where we were getting on top a little bit here now. Danny's unlucky there, comes over the top of two men, probably doesn't, you see it from this one, doesn't see it till late. I think that's Neston there. Keeper makes a good save down to his right hand side. Here's Luton now coming forward. This is what we're saying about their front men. He peels off to that far post, nods a great ball down there. It's crying out for one of their lads to come and finish it, but thankfully from us it just drops past there. I think it's Campbell, can't get on the end of it. Adebayo's on his heels a little bit outside the play, outside Luke O'Nien at the bottom of your picture, and the chance goes away for Luton. So you can see it was a little bit end to end. First half, second half was similar. Here's Ahmad's chances now, just clips this one over the top. There's not enough pace on it. Got the safety catch on a little bit, if we're honest, just tries to feed it over the top of the wall. I think the keeper makes a little bit of a meal of it, to be honest, and just parries it away to safety.
Just while we're watching these, Danny, I want to bring you the match stats, because you might not believe it.
Possession.
Sunderland actually had 59% possession.
Right, okay. I thought we might have just shaded it slightly. But
both teams had 16 shots each, 4 on target for Sunderland, 3 on target for Luton. Are you surprised by that, the possession stats?
No. If you'd have said, I'd probably said 55 us, 45 them, to be honest. But and chances similar. So there you go. That tells the story of the game, really. But here's their big moment right at half time. I'm thinking, now let's get in at half time. Let's
bit of controversy about their goal. Look in the middle of the park there.
Yeah, you just see it there. Morris, I think he's clever. Off the ball, isn't it? He just knees.
Takes Danny Bart's leg away,
doesn't it? And then it just distracts Bailey Wright and Danny Bart. Keep an eye on it again now. So just his right leg.
The number 9, right in the middle.
Bang, there. See, just a little knee. And look at both Bailey and both Danny. They're looking at the ref, just waving their arms. But look at Carlton Morris. He's on the move there. He's alive to it. He gets across that near post. I think there, can Dennis stop the cross? Your fullbacks, you want him to stop the ball coming into the box there. But it is Doughty, and what I will say, his little left foot, and he goes on his right foot there and just fizzes it across. No chance for Anthony Patterson, and Morris is there. Side foot finish, 1-0 right on half time. And then we come into this second half now. Trying to get Jack Clark, we'll see in a minute. Jack obviously delivers for the goal, but he was frustrated, Jack, throughout the afternoon. And to be fair, more often than not, they doubled up on him, made it difficult for him to create. But yeah, in a minute you'll see the one moment that he does deliver Jack, and he's more than capable. He steps up and he pulls the ball back for Embleton for the goal, doesn't he?
Yeah, Ahmad had a good afternoon for Sunderland, looking for positives, but he just pulled it back a little
that
bit.
One, yeah, me too. You want him to get up with play, but he just runs ahead of the ball. Really, you see, he's got to pull it back. Ahmad into that space. This one he gets a little bit excited with, gets himself a yard. He's got to try and bend it into the far corner.
He's always looking to make something happen.
Yeah,
though,
he
isn't
is.
he?
Yeah, that's what I love about him. You know, nightmare for defenders. He's got sharp feet. He always wants to beat a man, but unfortunately, there once he gets that half yard, it's having that coolness about you, just to either pick a man out or to pick your spot, and he just thrashes at it a little bit into that side netted.
He's the equaliser.
And there's the goal now. Yeah, Dennis picks up the loose ball, gives it into Jack, and Jack, we said it before, you know, he loves what you see last season with Jack. More often than not, he'd always come inside, but this season a few times now he's gone past his man on the outside, and that's what he does there. And you don't necessarily have to beat your man and then drive into the box. It's just half a yard look, just shifts it there, and then just feeds it. Embleton puts the brakes on. See the defenders, they all go back, the three defenders.
It's difficult that, isn't it? Because he's almost falling backwards to try and get his foot around
to get it.
it.
Onto it. Yeah, but thankfully, you know, Elliott's got 2 feet. You know, he's comfortable on either foot. That one's on his left, and it's a lovely finish. Just guides it, doesn't he? Doesn't slash at it. Just uses the pace on the ball, firm side foot, and just guides it past the goalkeeper. And then I think in that, can we go on kick on now? We've got the equaliser. Tails are up, fresh legs on the pitch. You know, Ellis is out there. He's unlucky there. Link up play
made a difference, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Just his hold up play in general, really. He was quite good and brought
got
the
us
lads
up the
into
pitch,
play.
didn't he?
Yeah. And then this one is this Patrick coming off that right. Yep. See what he's looking for. And we thought he's beat the keeper. The keeper's scrambling, but it's just past that right hand side post.
Luton still with chances of their own.
Yeah,
going
Luke
deep
Freeman, couple coming out to him
the
from
game.
that long throw, and behind for the corner. So yeah, I think you can see from the highlights, you know, they had opportunities, a lot of ball bouncing. You see at time and time again how many bodies are in the box. You know, there wasn't a lot of opportunities on the counter attack. You know, when you see there's 2 or 3 bodies in the box, a lot of the opportunities, the boxes were packed with bodies in there, and it sort of summed the game up really. You know, the word you said, it was frantic, wasn't it? It was claustrophobic in the box. Look at it again, a lot of balls coming into the box, a lot of bodies in the boxes, and I think for us, we've stopped the rot, as I said there, back-to-back defeats. It was important we didn't pick up another one down there, otherwise the confidence starts to sap from the lads. So we've gone back down there, positives to take. We come back from a goal behind. Ellis is getting minutes in his legs, and we come back away with the point.
Yeah, important point for Sunderland this afternoon. Let's have a look how the rest of the championship got on. There was an early kick-off. Oh, that's the table. Well, might as well look at that before we look at the scores. Sunderland find themselves in 16th position, but of course we know all about how tight that division is, and could leapfrog quite a few places if the results were to go their way on Wednesday, which is when Sunderland's next game is against Huddersfield. Let's have a look at the scores from the championship then. That early kick-off finished 1-1 between Bristol City and Swansea. The other scores were West Brom 0, Sheffield United 2, Burnley 2, Reading 1, Cardiff 1, and Rotherham United 0, Coventry City 1, Blackpool 2, Huddersfield 1, Millwall 0, Hull City 0, Blackburn Rovers 1, Norwich City 3, Stoke City 1, Preston 2, Middlesbrough 1, and Wigan were beaten at home 1-0 by Watford. So, you know, many of those teams inconsistent really with their form. Blackburn probably one of the ones who are consistent, and you know, things will be changing all around the top of the championship. But we saw a small section of the championship where Sunderland are at the moment, but a couple of games it all changes. Yeah,
again, you're looking at. I said earlier on the week we spoke to Pritch and we were chatting about the table, and I said we've had a good season so far. Third of the season gone. The table is that tight. Yeah, you say you're a couple of results away from kicking on, and you're back amongst the sort of top pack. But at the same time there, obviously we didn't see the bottom teams, but you're looking over your shoulder. And that's what happens in football. If you don't pick up points, you're not winning games of football. I think we've had 1 win in 8 now, haven't we? So yeah, we've got to get back to winning ways. Great start to the season, but we've got to build on that now. And hopefully you see Ellis coming back. I think Ross, I think they've got him penciled in for the Millwall game after the break. Dan Ballard coming back as well. Adji Elise, I'm not sure how far it is. So once you're getting all the bodies back, there's competition for places. We're stronger. And then obviously you're competing for shirts between the lads, and then we've got to turn performances into victories and get back up the table.
You chose Ahmad as your man of the match this afternoon, Danny. I think we can have a look through some of his better moments this afternoon. And he perhaps when Ahmad came to Sunderland, it was maybe suggested he wasn't going to get stuck in as much as he does, but he got really deep. He finds himself all over the park, and he really drives Sunderland on, doesn't he, at points?
He does. I hadn't seen anything of him before he come to the club, to be honest, but what I have seen from him, what I like, as you say there, is energy. He's tenacious. He's not afraid. He's not the biggest lad, but he puts himself about. He doesn't give up on lost causes. He closes full-backs down, centre-halves down. He's always willing to get on the ball. Looks to make things happen. You see there, as soon as he receives it, looks sharp, busy and bright, driving the defender back into the box. Disappointed, you see his reaction there. Disappointed he's not beat the keeper. But that's what you want to see, and I'm sure Tony Mowbray will enjoy working with him. I can imagine he's the same type of player in training who will love the five-a-sides. He'll love all the possession drills where he gets on the ball. Again, I could see on what day was it when they had the open session the other day?
Was it Tuesday?
Tuesday. Just in the possession there, I had an eye on him there, and he's busy and bright, always wants to get on the ball. But yeah, disappointed. He got his goal last week, a lovely finish. Could have had a couple again this afternoon. Looks like he likes to link up play as well. He can play in a number of positions, outright where Patrick obviously prefers to play. Come and play as a 10. I don't see him as a centre forward, out and out striker, but someone who will play off Ellis Sims or Ross Stewart. But yeah, no, I just thought he was the bright. It was difficult today for me to pick a standout man of the match. I don't think too many, were excellent from start to finish. But he was the one for me who was the sort of standout really amongst the 11 at start, and obviously the lads that come on off the bench. Obviously Elliott got his goal as well. But no, I like what I've seen from him so far. And I did say before the game as well, shoot a little bit earlier sometimes. And I think people have criticised him of, lovely ball that one by the way, wasn't it? But people have said about him, doesn't pull the trigger quick enough, wants to do too much at times. But I just think now he's sort of learning. He wants to get his shots off. See that one there? If he overs that, you've got Jack coming in at the back post. Communication. Again, going through his highlights again here. Wants to get on free kicks, wants to take control of situations. I don't mind that. But no, I think he's been a positive signing for us so far. Still a long way to go in the season. And I think he's one of them now. If he stays in the team, you'll only see him grow as a player.
Okay, let's have a look at some of your thoughts now in #AskDanny here on the post-game programme. First one has come in from our friend Dave in Malaysia, who says, what a difference having a striker on the pitch makes, Danny. Thinking back to your playing days, which player did you miss more than any other if they were injured? Think about Sunderland.
Yeah, we'll stay on Sunderland. From my time at the club now, it's a good question. Again, he's asking about striker and difference. So if I'm going back to my time, not necessarily thinking were they out of the team, but you look at Kenwyne Jones, different types of strikers. Kenwyne Jones, a big focal point for us. Had a leap, big and strong on his day. I think John Terry spoke about him, one of his toughest opponents throughout his career. And he was Kenwyne, in training, big and strong. He'd hold you off like you weren't there. Agile, you could see his jump, you could see by his celebration, the old cartwheels and that. So Kenwyne was a big plus for us in the day. Then you've got the other types of strikers, Stephen Elliott, Dave Connolly, the little fox in the box types, playing off that type of striker. But it just showed there, he's mentioned in there, what a difference it is having a striker back on the pitch. Ellis didn't come on and score, but he played a part, just getting hold of the ball, getting us up the pitch, and that's what I've spoke about in recent weeks where, the fans have said we're missing a striker.
I think he received a couple of fouls on himself, didn't he? And that got Sunderland up the park, didn't it? And just having that person up front where the defenders are going to hang off and, give a free kick away, it just made a difference.
Well, it was, because they brought Sonny Bradley on the same time, and whether they were going to bring him on or not,
I don't think they
Nathan
were.
Jones might have looked at it and thought, Ellis is coming on, big physical presence up there, and they've got that big lump of a centre-half on the bench to bring him on to look after him, and they had a bit of a battle. But I think Ellis, obviously he's going to be a little bit rusty. He's 6 or 7 games or so since it was Reading, wasn't it, where he got injured and come off. So he's been out a few weeks, so he'll get back up to speed, but 20 minutes or so in his legs there. Obviously we've got another 3 games before the break for the World Cup, so it's a big plus, and I'm sure the person who'll be most relieved will be Tony Mowbray, because he's mentioned it in in his press conferences in recent weeks, we're missing that striker. I feel like we've got a lot of components there, what are needed to win matches, but it's just having that focal point up the top end of the pitch who can look after the ball for you, bring Patrick, Elliott, Jack, all these types of players into the game in that final third.
Thanks, Danny. Let's have a look at another one of your hashtags here. This one is coming from Finney, who says, 3 games since a solid win, no obvious improvements or changes to Sunderland's game. What must Mowbray do to get us back on top of our game? Do you agree with that, or do you think there was reasons to be optimistic in the second half?
Well, obviously he says there, so 3 games since the win against Wigan. So we go Blackburn. I thought second half Blackburn controlled the game, but didn't have that cutting edge. What we've gone on about striker there, we had a lot of the ball, couldn't break them down. Last week, first 45 minutes, some fans may argue it was the best 45 minutes. We didn't pepper the goal as such, but the way we controlled the game against Burnley and stopped them from playing. And then obviously today, I think today was a difficult one to judge. It was just, what was your word? I said frantic. Chaotic, frantic. It was 100 mile an hour. And I think sometimes it's when the camera is on top, it feels like that as well. Them compact grounds.
There's no real flow to the game, was there? No, and I don't think the officials helped either with that, did they?
The ref lost it for about 10 minutes or so in that first half. I think, we could talk about the bookings. There was that one after a minute where the lad slipped, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think it was Campbell.
Yeah.
Just put his hand on the ball. That was a booking. But, last week, great decision from the ref. He booked their lad early on for stopping the counter-attack on Ahmad. Today, I think that was yellow. But Dennis, he didn't book Dennis. I think Dennis's was a booking early on.
Yeah.
He got one second half, so we got away with one there.
5 bookings altogether.
And the ref's performance summed it up a little bit. He was trying to let a bit go, and then, as you said in comms, where there was perhaps a free kick for them, and then there was one for us, and he didn't give it to balance it up. And I said just before they scored, I think it's a good time for the referee to have half time. Never mind us. But yeah, let's have a look now. No obvious improvements or changes to Sunderland's game. What must Mowbray do to get us back on top of our game? It's just work. All you can do. Been there as a player where you don't win games of football. Between the lads, they've got to try and keep the confidence. The senior boys get around the younger lads, work hard in training. You try different things. You're hoping then that your strikers coming back and get them amongst the goals. Elliott's obviously chipping in recent weeks with a couple. And you just got to keep working hard. And overall, you're looking at the table and we've dropped a few places. And I said, and I'm sure Sunderland fans would agree, where when you look at it after a third of the season, so that 15-game mark where we were sat, we were, 13th, 14th. We dropped a couple of places today. But overall, not just the position, but the sort of quality of the football we've played. I think we've been unfortunate we haven't picked up a few more points. You'll always go back to the QPR game. 2-0 up, 5 minutes to go, concede, then the goalkeeper comes up and scores. How often is that going to happen? So you let a couple of points slip there.
The 0-0s at home against Preston.
0-0s there. It's all what ifs, in hindsight. We didn't have a striker. Would we have scored? Arguably, we would have created more. So I think it's been a solid, let's not forget, we didn't come up automatically last year. I think we were finished 5th, didn't we? And we had to battle through, in that, since Alex Neil come in to get to the playoffs. So we've come up with a squad full of players who hadn't played at this level before. There was a lot in there, some younger boys trying to find their way in the game. So I think where we are, you can't argue. And I don't think if you'd have said to most Sunderland fans at the start of the season, we were sort of mid-table, producing decent football for the majority of the games, creating chances, scoring goals, you'd have sort of took it where we are. But at the same time now, you are nervous. You will look at the table and you look over your shoulder and you think, we're only 2 or 3 points off the relegation zone. But if I'm honest, I don't fear for us at this moment in time. I fear when opposition are having 75% of the ball, we're backs to the goal, we're sat in our final third, hanging on in games. That hasn't been the case so far this season. So they've just got to stick to it, and I'm sure we'll score goals. We'll try and get back to clean sheets. We've conceded 10 in the last 5 games, so we need to get back to keeping it clean at that end and getting the balance, and obviously scoring at the other end. And I'm sure we'll kick on from there. And I do fancy us. I'm honest, where I think we've got more than enough in that changing room, in that top end of the pitch.
When everyone's fit as well.
When everyone's fit, they're on their game. They're producing 7, 8 out of 10 performances that we can go to any team in this league and get a result. Yeah,
let's have a look at another one then of your thoughts here on #AskDanny, the post-game programme. Cuball says, do you think we should have started with the stronger side today? We looked better when the subs came on. Now, you made a comment in commentary, Danny. You said if a player is fit enough to be on the bench, are they fit enough to play the full game? You can understand why Ellis Sims was on the bench, though, can't you?
Yeah, Not in terms of starting the game, but you know when he brought the subs on, didn't he, at 60
minutes,
and I was thinking, well, why isn't he coming on now? Obviously, we needed a goal. You bring in some creative players on, but get that focal point on as well. But then he brought him on 10 minutes later. So my point was there, well, if he's saying he's only fit for 10 minutes, is it worth bringing him? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, he's been out for a few weeks. We've said it there. It's always easy, you know, looking at the game afterwards. We brought the subs on. Yeah, they had an impact on the game. I thought Michu was neat and tidy when he come on, tried to get us going.
Obviously, Embleton getting the goal.
Embleton come on, got himself. Yeah. Embleton would have been disappointed not to have started.
He scored some important goals.
Yeah,
for
he scored against Wigan. Last week, I thought he was excellent first half as well, and then he died off second half. But a lot of the lads did, didn't they?
Yeah.
But he come out the team, so I know Elliot well, and he would have been disappointed to be on the bench today. How do you answer your manager in terms of that? You know, do you show you're frustrated, you sulk around the dugout, the change rooms, or do you go on the pitch,
score a goal,
and you step up and you get your team a point? So that's what he's done. But it's hard to say, you know, could we have started with them? Because later on the game, you know, players tire, the game got open. Well, it was open from the start really, but it was a basketball match, wasn't it? Last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Once we got that goal, you're thinking, can we kick on? Didn't quite happen. I think Patrick had that one, didn't he? Which fizzed past the outside post. Patrick trying to get us into the game as well. So we know we've got them, but it's...
And Patrick back from injury as well, another positive. You know, there's positives to be found in the game this afternoon for sure. But Danny, we're going to move on to the final one now here on #AskDanny. And this one came in from Glenn. He says, good point and overall performance, ? And he says, always good to pick up a point away from home against a team that have beaten a lot of the top teams. And that's coming in from Florida Mackham, Glenn. A good point that... You know, Luton finished 6th last season, and you know if it wasn't for Huddersfield in the playoffs, they would have gone to Wembley. They're not a bad team, are they? Under Nathan Jones,
and they've only lost 1 in the last 9 as well. A freak result for them last week against Watford.
Yeah.
So they would have been, let's say, happy in terms of that. I think if we're judging overall, he says that good points and overall performance. I think if we're honest, we've obviously played better. But we're not always going to go to teams and dictate play, you know, dictate the ball, as you said there. They finished in the playoffs last year, so we've got to give them respect. You know, going down to their place, you're not going to have 70-80% of the ball and just stride through the game and have it all your own way.
No.
They were full of energy early on. They started much brighter than us, and I thought early on we looked like we were going to concede in that first 10 minutes. So we rode that out, and then we grew into the half, didn't we, as the half wore on. But yeah, you know, it says they're always good to pick up a point away from home. I
agree with that.
Yeah, no, you take that, you know, but at the same time, we're not picking up enough at home. You say at the start of the season, make this your fortress, Stadium of Light, you know, wins, pick up the odd draw, and then take a point on the road. Whereas earlier on, we were picking up the wins on the road, weren't we? So yeah, you take a point when you can. That was the main thing today. Don't get beat. You know, 3 defeats on the bounce and you're slipping down the table. And I said it there, the confidence starts to sap from the players.
Yeah.
But no, so in general, I think that if I was one of the lads in that today, having watched it, but if I'd have played in it, I'm getting back on the bus and I'm thinking, do you know what? Neither team dominated. A draw was a fair result. It was a scrappyish game. We showed a bit of character coming back into it. Lads come off the bench, had an effect on the game. So we take it and we move on now and we get ready for the next one.
That's right. And the next one will be on Wednesday evening. It's a 7:45 kickoff against Huddersfield Town, away from home, of course, for Sunderland on Wednesday as we try and squeeze in those games before the World Cup. 7:45 kickoff means we'll be on air from around 7:15 on Wednesday evening, so join us here on SFC Live for that one. The final score today finished Luton Town 1, Sunderland 1. Sunderland stopped the rot down at Kenilworth Road. We'll be back on Wednesday. We'll see you soon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.